Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Veera Cloud Architect. Today we are going to see AWS IAM. IAM stands for Identity Access Management. IAM is a service used to manage user profiles, which can protect AWS resources from multiple users. We can achieve highly secured environment by limiting the right users with right permissions. Today we are going to cover user group policies and roles. Let me start with policy. Policies are nothing but set of permissions. Either we can attach these permissions to users, groups or roles. Users are nothing but the person those who are going to access AWS account. In companies, there are like plenty of users going to access the same account, and the users in the account can have the different set of permissions. For example, a developer will have only the SDK access, and our AWS administrator they will be having a full access into the account. So it depends on the user, those who are going to access the resources. So like we can create, like for example, if you have a 10 people for a development team, so instead of creating a 10 users and giving the policy, attaching the policies to the users, rather we can create a group as a development group, and we can attach the policy to the group, and then later we can add as many users we want. Okay, same way, like for example, if you have a storage administrator or something like that roles, so like we can create a storage group and we can add the people into that group. And the third one is roles. Roles are nothing but the service which is going to access another service. For example, AWS EC2 can directly access S3 bucket. So from server, we can access some data from S3. Then we can create a role. Or in some cases, the Lambda function is going to access some EC2 instance, or the Lambda function is going to access any S3 bucket. In that case also, we can create a roles. I will once I'm giving a demo, like I will go through all these things. So this is the sample policy which I have created. So the policies are in JSON format, and this is how the policy look like. So this policy is allowing all actions and allowing all the resources, which means it's a kind of administrator access. So if you attach this policy to the group, the particular person, particular group will be having an administrator access. Or if you attach this policy to the user, the particular user will be having all the access, like administrator access. Without wasting any time, let me get into the demo. This is my AWS account. Let me search AWS service in the search bar, IAM. So in services, choose IAM. Now let me start with the users. I'm going to create one user. Se Select users option and then add user. Give a name to the user. I'm giving my name, and provide user access to AWS management console, which means it like this user can access the entire console. Okay, so I'm giving the console access. So I'm selecting this option, and then like currently AWS has some feature called identity center, so where we can specify the users, but I will tell these things later on. Currently I'm going to create a IAM user. I'm selecting the second option, IAM user, and I'm selecting auto generated password because I don't want to give any custom password, and then show password. And if you wanted to allow the user to change the password, I can tick this one, but I don't want my user to change the password, so I'm taking this off. Next. So here we can attach the permissions. So if you want to attach this user into any of the existing group, then we can choose this first option. But currently I don't have any group, so I'm not doing anything. And if you have any other user and if we can copy the permission out of that user, then we can choose this option. But currently I don't have any user either. Okay, so I'm directly going to attach the policies, so that I'm choosing this option. The third option, attach policy directly, which can allow users allow us to get all the policies which is created already. Okay, we can choose it from any of this option. So if you give this option administrator access, this particular user will be having all the access. So or like there are many policies Amazon has already created, the policies and permissions. So like for example, if you need only S3 access, you can type S3 full, then like you can find the policy called Amazon S3 full access. So if you attach this policy, so the particular user will have S3 full access. Okay, but I'm not going to do this, I'm just leaving it as it is. So I'm going to select the user with administrator access, this option, and then create next. Okay, so then I have all these options, like I have the administrator access, I'm creating the user with administrator access. So my user is ready. Let me go back. Oh, okay, before going that, let me all this information will be you can see it from here, but also if you download the CSV file, you can use it later on. So I'm hitting download CSV file option. So I have the user here. Okay, so the user details will be in a Vera underscore credentials.csv file. Okay, so that I can get the credentials later on. Let me open the file once. So this is the detail, username and then password, and how we gonna access. We can use this URL to access the account. Let me quickly show you how I can access. Let me copy this, and then I'm using another browser so that I don't get confused. So I'm using this browser to paste this URL. It is directly getting into the Amazon login page. So I'm IAM user, my username is Vera, and I have the password which is in the Excel sheet. So I'm choosing this password. Okay, I'm giving the password as well. Okay, so now I have logged into this account. Okay, got it. Okay, so now you can see this is a user called Vera. I can, since I have the administrator access, I can access all the resources from this account. Okay, so I can go anywhere, like let me go to container registry. So like this is a container service available in this AWS account. You can get started. Okay, so likewise you can choose any services. So even I can go to EC2. So select the EC2, and I can access the EC2 dashboard. So likewise we can create the user. So let me minimize this one and let me go back to my previous console. So this is my previous console, and I'm going to show how we can create a group. So I have one user there already, so I'm going to create a group. User groups, create group. Okay, so give a name for the group. So this is going to be a storage. So it's a storage group, and if you want to add any user to the group, we can add it. So I'm going to add Vera into the storage group. So if you have multiple users, we can add it from here, but currently I have only one user, so I'm choosing this. And if you want to give any permission to the particular group, we can give. I'm going to, since it is a storage, I'm going to give a S3 full access. Okay, I'm choosing this option and then create group. So my group is created and I have one user to the group, and permissions I have S3 full access. You can see it from here. permissions, and this is the permission which I have already. So this is how we can create a group. The third one I'm going to create is a role. So imagine my S3 bucket is I want to create a role to access from S3 EC2 to access S3. So I'm going to create a role. Select create role, and then we have to choose the first option, AWS services, because one service is going to access another service. So I'm going to choose the service which is going to access. This is the one. So EC2 is going to access S3. So I am choosing this option. So these are all the common use cases. That's why it's here. Otherwise, we can choose it from the list. So EC2 and then next. Okay. So now which service the EC2 is going to access? Is going to access S3. So I'm going to give S3 full. So this EC2 is going to access S3. Give a name, access S3. Okay, so that's how I have given access S3. So if I have created a role now, the role is now created. So now we can attach this role into any of the users. So let me go back and see the roles. Access S3 is created. So now we can attach this role to any of the EC2 instance, so that from the EC2 instance I can access the S3 bucket. So the final one I'm going to discuss today is policies. So how we can create a policy, because the policies are important. These policies we are going to attach into group, or we are going to attach into user, or we are going to attach into roles. Okay, so creating policy is more important. So let me select this option, policy, and create policy. So the if you can see this symbol, right, this is a AWS managed policies. So AWS has already created a lot of policies, so we can choose it from any of these. But in most of the companies, they don't prefer these options. They wanted to give a exactly right permission to the user or the group or roles. So we have to create a custom policy. Okay, so for that, hit this button, create policy, and then rather you can use this format, like visual editor, to choose the service. So for example, I'm going to give a all access, so I'm choosing services. So so to give all access, we can give a star, which means it's going to access all of them. Okay, but currently I'm going to give a EC2. Okay, so if you type EC2, it will come and you can choose it. So in EC2, I want to list all the services. Okay, so I can choose the list option. There are many predefined list options available, like more than 162 list options available, or like I'm going to give all actions. Okay, so all of them has been selected. See, so many options available. And then resources, we have to specify the particular resource, or we can give all resources as well. Okay, there are so many resources, I'm giving all resources for now. And if you have any conditions, so this one has to have from this IP only we have to connect. If you have anything like that, we can add in a request condition option. We can add the source IPs or MFA required, like that options. But currently I'm not doing any of them. And then that's all. So we can go to tags. Okay, and then finally review, and you can give any name for this policy. This is going to give a EC2 access. I am giving a name as EC2 access. That's all. So this one has a EC2 full access. That's everything. Hit create policy. So the policy is now created. So now this policy we can attach into user or group or roles. So now I have the policy called EC2 access, right? EC2 access. This policy I can attach to any of the user. Like I'm going to attach into the user. Let me show. Already this user has all the permission, but still I'm going to add this. permission, select these users, and then permissions. We can add permission, you can choose it from here, and that's all. Attach policies directly, you can search, easy to access. Okay, so since there are like a lot of policy based on naming, so like easy to name, easy to access, if you type like this, the policy which I have created is listing out, you can choose it, and next. So now I have the permissions, so I have added this permission as well, so the easy to access to the user. Same way, like we can add the use permission to the policy to the groups or roles, all are like same. So that's everything today, team. Please sync up with Cloud Synapse Technologies and have a good day. Meet you on next video. Thank you.